Hello again and welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going all the way back to 1985 with a look at the iconic John Matrix from Commando. This is the Hot Toys MMS 276 figure. I actually saw this figure all the way back in 2018 when I was visiting Tokyo. It was before I was into Hot Toys. I saw this figure in a display and I thought, man, that is an awesome looking figure. I just have to have it. And then lo and behold, came back to Australia and I managed to source one. I was really pleased with the price. He's in almost near mint condition. So I've had this for some years now. He was probably one of the first, maybe the second or third figure in my collection. I have probably about 50 or 60 1/6 scale figures now, so yeah, it kind of it took a massive upward spiral from those first figures, but this has always been one of my favorite pieces. Taking a look at the box, you can see it has this really nice iconic image. This actually isn't an image of Schwarzenegger from the film, it's an image of the actual figure, so it looks really cool, and it has that homage to the movie poster. I remember it had Schwarzenegger written all the way down on the backdrop on that poster. John Matrix, so you can see it's quite old, MMS 276, and this is a nice embossed text. Same with the Commando, and then the smoke blast from the rocket launcher goes all the way around to the side. And then on the back, all the cast and crew that were involved in making this figure. And then something which is quite nice on the inside, there's this sleeve, and it has a direct quote from the movie trailer. Somewhere, somehow, someone's going to pay. So really cool. So let's take a look at the actual figure. Okay, so here he is with all of his accessories. And as you can see, he comes with a shitload of accessories. I think John Wick is the only other figure in my collection that has a similar amount of accessories, an absolute ton. But it is John Matrix, and if you think of that movie, if hopefully you have seen that movie, towards the end he gets totally loaded out with a ridiculous arsenal, so it's only fitting that he comes with all of that stuff. So starting off, he comes with one tactical vest, 2 shoulder pouches, 2 claymores, 2 remote detonators, a pair of binoculars, a Desert Eagle, a combat knife, 2 throwing knives, a pump action shotgun, 1 Uzi, an assault rifle, a wristwatch, 12 shotgun cartridges, a left open hand, a left holding hand, a left partially closed hand, a right trigger finger hand, a right holding hand, a rocket launcher, and a base and crotch grabber. So in addition to all those accessories, he does actually come with a few other bits and pieces. So for example, the thigh holster, this is for his sidearm. I can't recall if this was an accessory in the box or if it was on the figure, so you could include that. And then also on the actual tactical vest, he has 3 of these grenades. And these are clipped on, or rather they are actually attached by string, so these were actually on the vest in the box. And while we're at it, let's take a closer look at this tactical vest, because it is the iconic piece to the John Matrix figure, and the attention to detail here is incredible. And now it is a little bit older, so I'm going to be super careful with it, but all of these pouches and all of the sheaths are usable. So for example, these are for ammo clips. There's nothing inside, it's just styrofoam, but you can see they do actually all work. It's all Velcro. Same for these ones on the other side, just Velcro. Yeah, so it's nothing in there other than styrofoam. One thing that is quite fiddly, and you'll know I haven't taken them all out for this review, is the shotgun shells. Now these are all individually wrapped when you get the figure, and you just pop them in like so. There you go. And then he actually has 3 sheaths for the knives that he has. One here for his massive combat knife, which is this one here, and that just goes in. This is magnetic, this clip here. You have to be quite careful, but it is magnetic. And that just goes straight the way down. There we are. And then likewise, and this here is nothing. This is just stuffed with styrofoam, and yeah, it doesn't really hold anything. And then on the back here, he has sheaths for the throwing knives. So if you haven't seen the movie, then go and watch it. But if you have, you'll remember towards the end of the movie, he puts his hands behind his back and he pulls his out and he just kills 2 blokes, just like that. Now these here aren't really for anything. I guess you could put some items on there. For example, if you wanted to, you could probably find a way to clip on remote detonators. I don't use these for anything. Now this is quite difficult to get on when you get it first in hand, because not only do you put the tactical vest obviously over the body, you also tuck it underneath the legs. So it has these clips that come underneath the legs and then clip up on here. Now these, which look like sort of carabiner clips, they're not actually that flexible. So you have to be very, very careful and just put it up like that. And then it sits like that underneath his legs. So this is an incredible piece. Mine is slightly faded, as you can see there, and a common issue which fortunately mine hasn't experienced yet, but I know other reviewers have had that, is the black actually starts to wear on the figure. So watch out for that if you do have this figure. And next up, let's take a look at these shoulder pouches. Now these are for the Claymores. You can see that I actually haven't used mine at all. It still has the original wrapping on there, but it's just Velcro, so just be a little bit careful with it. You can get the can you get a Claymore in there? No, you're not going to get a Claymore in there. You could probably get, I assume these were for the Claymores, but they must not be. Regardless, you get 2 of those. And then while we're at it, these Claymores are very, very cool. So front towards enemy, and then they are actually articulated. They have these prongs that come out, these stakes. Oops. Push that back in, there we are. These stakes that come out, which would just go straight into the ground. And as I said, the remote detonators. Now these do have clips on them as well, but other than that, they're just a straightforward solid piece with the red paint application. The binoculars. Now these are also very, very well done. You can even see that they have lenses in there on both sides. And then this nice thick strap. It does have a buckle as well at the top, and it is plastic. It looks like metal, but it is actually plastic. This is not articulated, but the actual lenses, or rather the actual the body is. His wristwatch, again, very, very important. If you've seen the movie, then you know he sets a timer for how long he has before Jenny is killed. So really, really nice inclusion, and the detail in it is really, really impressive. It's quite difficult to pick up on camera, but you can see they've got the fingers, they've got all of the markings for the numbers, and then they even have very, very subtly, I can't read that with my poor eyesight, but it's got some digits there. It doesn't actually strap, like it doesn't actually loop through, it's just one piece and it just slots over the wrist when the hand is off. Okay, so next up, the Desert Eagle, really, really nice piece, and this is articulated. It has a removable slide, and you can see it has a round in the chamber, and then also a removable clip. It's a really nice piece, and that just goes straight into the pouch on his thigh. And then we have the combat shotgun. So very nice piece. It is plastic, it's not very heavy, it's very, very light. The sling is this nice soft, it's not really cotton, but it is a sturdy material, and it does have the pump. And then moving on to the Uzi. This is articulated here, so you can actually extend, there we are, you can extend the arm, and it has a removable clip. Oh, no it doesn't, I thought it did. Yes it does, yeah, it's just a bit stiff, there you are. And again, I haven't ever displayed him with this, so you can see on the sling there, it still has the original wrapping. this, I didn't know what this was called. I had to look it up. Now, I think it's the Valmet M78. I think that's what came up when I was trying to do a bit of research. Really, really cool piece. Again, super lightweight, it's all plastic. It does have a nice sling, the same material to the shotgun. It does have a bipod, which just comes out just ever so slightly. There we are. And you can actually just bend that forward. I'm being so careful with it. There we are. And it's got these two clips there for it. There you go. And then a removable clip with shells already in there, or rounds rather. Really, really nice piece. Very nice. It has this metal clasp across the top there. And then finally, the rocket launcher. Now this is something that I was aware of. From memory, I think it's an M220 or is it M220? Ah, there we are, M202. There we go. So this is also very iconic. It just butchers a whole jeep full of troops at the end of the movie. It is slightly articulated, so it does have a lens here, you can see, and it actually does have a lens. The sling is very, very nice, and it has these very small carabiner clips. The only way that I could actually get him to hold this, I typically would use this hand here, and you'll note that the thumb is actually attached to the forefinger. So the only way is to remove it via the carabiner, being very careful, and then just feed it through the hand, and he holds it really, really well. And it is actually articulated, so you can pull out the chambers. So really, really cool piece. Again, quite lightweight, all plastic, but very, very nice. And I suppose last but not least, well, I'll take a look at the hands in a moment, but he also comes with these stands. You don't see many of these stands anymore. This was the default stand for Hot Toys back in the day. This oval shape with the name of the movie and then the name of the character. It's a shame that we don't see these. I do miss these. It's nice to have the name of all the characters, particularly if you've got a whole bunch of figures on a shelf, and then the old school crotch grabber. Then finally, taking a quick look at the hands. So these are all very well done. They all have the nice paint applications, more on the left hand side, you can see, for his camouflage. So you can see that they have been consistent with where it is on the left hand, and then the right hand doesn't have it at all, but they have sculpted in the veins. So really, really nice hands as well. So before I take a close look at the articulation, I am going to try and put on that tactical vest. It might take me a while. If it does, I'll just speed up the video, but let's see how it goes. Okay, so it didn't actually take too long. I had to drop the figure because of the weight to get those clasps on, so you may not have seen that. But as I said before, he has these straps that come from the back of the tactical vest. They go underneath his legs and then through, and they clip on here. The zipper does actually work. I haven't used it for a while, and it is a little bit snug, but it does work. Don't know that I'm gonna risk it here. I'm being super delicate with this figure because it is probably my favourite figure, and he now goes for ridiculous amounts. If you want this figure, you're probably going to expect to pay anywhere between $500 or even $600 Australian dollars, all the way up to $1,000 comparing based on the condition. So yeah, really don't want to stuff up the figure. As you can see with the tactical vest, chef's kiss. Okay, so I'll walk through the articulation. I will do it with the tactical vest on, so you've got a better idea of whether or not that vest is going to restrict the articulation. Starting off with the head, unfortunately he doesn't get much up or down at all. Up is super limited, almost nothing, and then down is virtually nothing as well. He does get side to side, as you'd expect. Now this is all that rubbery material, that overlay, so you could probably work it up if you was careful, but you can't really get anything out of it. The shoulder, now I don't know if you saw when the jacket was off, but he has this complete cover around the arm. That's the only thing that's rather unsightly, is obviously there's this gap between where the cover goes over the torso and the arm comes out, but you can get a good amount of up all the way to about there. You do get a lot of rotation. You are going to see that horrible ball joint, but you do get a good amount all the way down. And then this is the good arm, so you can get a decent bend at the elbow. I don't really mind that. I'm in two minds about getting the Rambo, the 3-0 Rambo, but anytime I see his arm bent, it just looks really odd. This one doesn't look natural, it does look kind of strange, but I don't think it looks quite as bad. And then he does get full rotation at the wrist, as you'd expect. In terms of ab crunch, he does have a very, very small amount of crunch. Nothing really to write home about. You can get him down just a touch, and then virtually nothing back. And you can't really rotate him at the hips either. So that comes all the way down. I haven't taken these off, nor am I going to, so I don't know how far down it does come, but you're not getting any rotation at the waist at all. The legs, up to about there, slightly restricted because of the cargo pants, and then also because of this coming off the tactical vest. Out to about there, and then back to about there. Knee joint, not too bad. And then he does have that's just at the ankle, yeah, it's not actually any further down, no, it's just there. So you can actually move the foot backwards and forwards, and then slightly up and down. I've never actually taken these boots off either, because I just don't think I'd be able to get it to look nice like that. So there you go. So the articulation is super limited, unfortunately, and if you're not careful, you would probably end up tearing this rubber. As I said, it did come like that, and so I don't really use this arm at all. Poor guy just sort of stands there, all geared up on the shelf. Okay, so my final thoughts on Hot Toys John Matrix figure. Now I can't really give this a fair assessment, because if you've made it to the end of this review, then you've already heard me gush at every opportunity that I can. This was one of my favourite toys when I had that 16-inch figure as a kid. I loved the movie, and then seeing this in Tokyo all those years back, Tokyo, one of my favourite places in the world, I really can't be non-biased towards this figure. But I will say that it is a very solid figure. The articulation isn't the best. In fact, it is really limited. There are some issues with the upper body torso, particularly the gaps around the shoulders, and the face sculpt, the lightness, it isn't the best. I don't really mind it, but everything else just works. The number of accessories, you cannot deny, is just ridiculous. You get so many accessories. I think only John Wick and possibly Neo are the only other figures in my collection which come close in terms of number of accessories. The only real issue with this figure is the price. He is very, very expensive on the secondary market. You're looking at least 700 Australian dollars for a second-hand one, and upwards of 1,000 to sometimes 1,200 Australian dollars for one fresh out of the box. So this has really, really skyrocketed in price. I don't think that Hot Toys will ever revisit the Commando movie, so I think this is it. I don't think we'll ever get another John Matrix figure. Maybe 3-0 or another third party will do one. I have seen some customs, but as it stands for me, if you're after a 1/6 scale John Matrix, the only place to go to really is Hot Toys. So I certainly hope that you've enjoyed this review. As I said, it's more of a look rather than a review, because he is one of my favourite figures. But if you do like this and you do like my content, then please do consider subscribing. And until next time, take care.
Now, somewhere, somehow, someone's gonna pay.